What's up guys? So in today's video I'm going to be taking a look at all my class setups and going over which ones I think are the best for this game. So I'm going to start with standard multiplayer, which are my loadouts 1 through 6, and then 7 through 10 are my Warzone loadouts. So 1 and 2 I don't use as often. Here I've got the M4A1, and these are the attachments that I have on it. And then here I've got the Kilo, and these are my Kilo attachments. This was mainly a Warzone class, but I've just been using this in multiplayer as well. But personally, I'm not a huge fan of the Kilo in regular multiplayer. This is just one that I have. So custom class 4, I've got the purple weapon tracer Growl, and this is my loadout for this one. This one's pretty good. I use it every once in a while, especially because it's got the purple tracers. It does have pretty high recoil, however, so I just keep that in mind if you're going to use this one. And then the other three are the better loadouts that I have. These are ones that you can pretty much drop nukes with. So this one I've got my close quarters MP5, and I run the monolithic integral suppressor, the 5 milliwatt laser, commando foregrip for the aiming stability, the 10 auto rounds, and the rubberized grip tape for the recoil control. And this is probably my go-to for standard multiplayer. This is my best class setup right here. And I have the Pilla as my secondary. I go with cold-blooded, ghost, and battle hardened. And then this is just down to preference, but I prefer the stun and thermites, because thermites go through riot shields. So if you're ever having trouble with riot shields, just throw on the thermite and it bleeds through them. Now this is another really good one I have. I've got a Finn loadout that has practically no recoil on it at all, and it's also pretty fast killing. So I run it with no stock, the mini reflex, the tac laser, the adverse barrel for a higher fire rate and aim down sight speed, and then the commando foregrip to control recoil. So this thing's pretty much a laser with a very high rate of fire. Another extremely good weapon. And then my last one, I've got the M13. This is another very good class setup. I've got the Tempest Cyclone, the tac laser, the skeleton stock, stippled grip tape for the sprint to fire and aim down sight speed, and I use the Merc foregrip on this one rather than the commando. And so those, the MP5, Finn, and M13 are my 3 go-tos. I definitely prefer the Finn and the MP5 over the M13, however, but that's just personal preference. But those are some really good class setups if you like those 3 guns. Now I'm going to be getting into the Warzone loadouts. So my main one for solos, and I dropped a 12 kill game with this yesterday, is the Ram 7 with the R09 shotgun secondary. And I run EOD overkill so I can put the R09 on, and amped. And then I go C4 and heartbeat sensor. So for the R09, I run the choke, which gives you more range and a tighter pellet spread. The Forge Tac Sentry, which does the exact same thing, more range, tighter pellet spread. I run the 5 milliwatt laser. The Merc foregrip for recoil control and aim down sight speed, and then the Dragon Breath rounds. And this is the extremely important one because it does damage over time after you hit them. So, and with this, I'm usually one-shotting or one-bursting people with full shields. So this is an extremely good weapon. I recommend just always using this as your secondary. And then for my Ram, this one I really like as well. This was probably the class I get the most wins with in Warzone overall. I'm rocking the monolithic suppressor, of course. The forged tack eclipse, which gives more damage range and bullet velocity. The tack laser for all of that. The 50 round mags, so I can pump more into people without having to reload. And then the aim down sight and sprint fire speed grip. And that's going to be my best Warzone class, but that's primarily for when I'm playing solos, which I definitely prefer better on. I might have to try this for squads, but I usually don't use it in squads because I prefer something that can take out more people in a shorter period of time, whereas this is more better for solos because of the 50 round clip. And then I've got the same thing except with Ghost. So later in the game I'll pick up this class and I'll just pick my R09 up off the ground, so it's the exact same class but with Ghost. This one I almost never use in Warzone actually. It's just my purple tracer weapons. But this is the class setup I have for these. It's a pretty decent class. I just definitely prefer the RAM and the fire shotgun over these for right now. So there's that. And then here's my Kilo class setup. Another very low recoil, good performing weapon. I'm still trying to get better with it. I'm still practicing with this one. The MP5 I can slay with, the Kilo not so much. I'm still practicing, but I know it's a really good weapon, and I just need to get that recoil control down. So I run the monolithic suppressor, the middle barrel for damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. The 3x optic. I pull on the 60 round mags so I can pull more people off in like squads and duos and trios. This right here is primarily my this is my squads and trios class setup, whereas these two I run, or this one I run for solos and duos, which is why I have 60 rounds, and then of course the commando foregrip for that recoil stabilization and aiming stability. Other guns I really highly recommend for this would be the M4A1, the M13, and the Fin. And pretty much for the same reasons I have them in my classes for regular multiplayer. I just don't have the loadout slots for this, but I would have Warzone classes with those 3 weapons as well. And it's pretty much going to be the same setup. I always go with monolithic suppressor, longer range optic, a medium to bigger size mags. I don't recommend going the highest because it's really going to slow you down, but like 50 or 60 I'd recommend for the gun. I would do your research on whether the commando or the Merc foregrip is better for the weapon that you're using in particularly, but those two are my go-tos. And then just always the best barrel. And that's gonna wrap up the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.